Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Freight and Salvage, to the Bay Area Book Festival, incarnation number 2, or número 2, porque estamos aquí esta tarde con Juan Felipe Herrera. Give a big Bay Area welcome. My name is Elaine Katzenberger, and I'm the publisher at City Lights Books. And I'm proud to say I am the publisher of Juan Felipe's most recent book, which he will be signing after the reading this afternoon, just outside the front door. So be sure to stop and get a copy and say hello to Juan Felipe. We've been waiting since last September when we published this book. Was it September? I'll just say that Juan Felipe and I have worked together for many years now as a poet and a publisher and editor. And this is the third of his works that I've been privileged to publish at City Lights. We had this manuscript that we were passing back and forth for about a year. And then suddenly I got a call one day from someone at the Library of Congress who told me, Juan Felipe Herrera has been appointed the consultant to the Library of Congress. Some kind of, I forget, the actual title is weird, but it's like the consultant to poetry. And I said, are you telling me that he's going to choose the next poet laureate? He said, no, he is the next poet laureate. I said, yeah! That's pretty much what I did. I screamed at the man on the phone and told him, this is the best news. This is the news of the year for me. This is the most beautiful thing that could possibly happen. I love this. And then I called Juan Felipe and I said, okay, we got that manuscript. We're going to do it now. So we brought that book out in record time, in time for him to be appointed. Yeah, it was really quite an endeavor. So I'm very proud that we managed to pull that off, and that book has been available since then, and it will be outside at the table after the reading. This is the official Bay Area book launch for that book. As I said, we've been waiting since then, but you know, the Library of Congress, they've been keeping him busy. I mean, he's been running from place to place to place, and as much as we've wanted to have the book debut at City Lights Bookstore, its home, it's been impossible. And so when the folks at the Bay Area Book Festival expressed a real desire to have Juan Felipe here, we managed to shoehorn in this event into his schedule, specifically because this is what Juan Felipe really wanted to do. He wanted to be able to present this book here to a Bay Area audience. So we're very lucky to have him here. I think Juan Felipe is a man who really needs no introduction, but I'm just going to read a few facts of his life because maybe everybody doesn't know everything. And of course, I say facts in quotes because these are facts gleaned from the internet, and we were just talking on the way over here, and you know, some of this might not be true, and you can nod or shake your head. But you know, I think we all do know that Juan Felipe was born in Fowler, California, and was the son of migrant farmers. And he spent his childhood moving around and living in trailers and tents in the roads along the San Joaquin Valley in Southern California. And as a child, he attended school in a variety of small towns, including San Francisco and San Diego. He graduated from San Diego High School in 1967 and was one of the first wave of Chicanos to receive an educational opportunity program scholarship. Remember those? Good idea. Good idea, no? To attend UCLA, and there he became immersed in the Chicano civil rights movement and began performing in experimental theater. He went on to receive his Bachelor of Arts in Social Anthropology there at UCLA, and then went on to get a Master's in Social Anthropology in Stanford. Later, he went on to get an MFA from the University of Iowa Writers' Workshop. In that time after Stanford, he spent some time in the Bay Area as one of the mission poets, and was instrumental along with some of the others that you may remember. Francisco Alarcón, may he rest in peace. Victor Martinez, también. And Alejandro Murguia, who is still with us, the Poet Laureate of San Francisco, and they were very, very active in the Mission District, and Juan Felipe was an important part of Bay Area poetics for many years. He's the author of too many books to mention, A very prolific poet, including 3 books published by City Lights, the latest being Notes on the Assemblies. There's also 187 Reasons Mexicanos Can't Cross the Border, which I highly recommend. And there's also a beautiful book of poetry, Juan Felipe's poems paired with woodcut prints by Artemio Rodriguez, who is a Mexican artist who has become quite famous. And it's called Loteria Cards and Fortune Poems. I encourage you to look for all of those. Juan Felipe is also a prolific children's author and has written many books for children and award-winning books, and they're beautiful as well. Over the past 3 decades, Juan Felipe has founded a number of performance ensembles. He's taught poetry, art, and performance in community art galleries and correctional facilities. He's taught at the University of Iowa Writers Workshop, and he served as chair of the Chicano and Latin American Studies Department at CSU Fresno. He was elected chancellor of the Academy of American Poets in 2011, and yes, in 2015, he was chosen as the U.S. Poet Laureate. And not too long ago, he consented to go on for another year as U.S. Poet Laureate, which is very generous because they're really keeping him busy, and he's very committed, and we're lucky. We're really, really lucky. It's beautiful. I'm just going to close with this one quote, and this was in the New York Times when they did a profile of Juan Felipe when he was appointed U.S. Poet Laureate. They said, "Many poets since the 1960s have dreamed of a new hybrid art, part oral, part written, part English, part something else. An art grounded in ethnic identity, fueled by collective pride, yet irreducibly individual too. Many poets have tried to create such an art. Herrera is one of the first to succeed." Please give a warm welcome to Juan Felipe.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure to be here. Muchas gracias. Thank you. Thank you so much. And let's give a big mano to Elaine Katzenberger, City Lights. I was just having a chat with Elaine, and I was mentioning that I used to hang out at City Lights back in '66. I used to come up from San Diego High School in back in SoCal. And my mom was here in San Francisco, living here on 16th and Mission Street. We had lived here before elementary school days, Marshall Elementary and Bryant Elementary, back in the 50s. So finally got back. And I used to go to City Lights like we all have, and go downstairs, go into Inframundo, and feel the beautiful vibes and the beautiful books, Allen Ginsberg's books and the esoteric books and the Buddhism books, and just look at the images. Such a beautiful bookstore that we all have dug and loved all along. And one of my favorite things in the 80s was to get the magazines. Remember our magazine craze in the 80s? We had a kind of a magazine fever. The books were still great, but for some reason we had magazine fever. So we used to get all the magazines. And René Ñañez at the Galería de la Raza would copy them on a color Xerox machine, which was a very new item. Very new item. We didn't have color before for some reason, even though we had a lot of color in the city. So he was doing a lot of color Xerox work at La Galería. So I just remember, and I still feel so much love here in the Bay Area. I used to wake up on Telegraph. People say, well, have you ever been to Berkeley? Yes, I used to wake up in Berkeley. I used to wake up on Telegraph. I don't know where I started, but I used to, wake up on Telegraph. And I used to have my stovepipe cinnamon pinstripe pants and probably a lime green Indian shirt that I used to get on Polk Street. I used to really picky about clothes. I don't know why. I used to go all the way to Polk Street to the Indian store and get myself a see-through lime green Indian shirt. And it would take me hours to pick that, choose that shirt. And then I would get those flared bell bottoms that they sold across the street from that same shop, more or less. And then I kind of felt I was getting in tune. But I used to wake up on Telegraph. It was cool. I used to wake up there and, accept my reality. And then I would go to the Matrix. Go to the Matrix. Was it the Matrix coffee shop on the same street, and have coffee and smoke Aloha's black tobacco cigarettes. Yeah, and write a lot. A beautiful place. My mother was here since the 40s, working in the St. Francis as a salad girl. She called herself a salad girl. I worked in the kitchen, those hot, steamy kitchens, so she used to do the salads. And my aunt and uncle, my aunt Lela and Uncle Fernando, I used to work in the laundries. And at the Fairmont, my uncle would say, "Yo trabajo en el Fermo. I was at the Fairmont, And that's how it is, That's how it was, hard work. His hands were like tree roots. His hands looked like tree roots in those hot, steaming laundry jungles that he worked in. And my aunt Lela did the same thing on Sanchez, off of Mission, right, on Sanchez. So, and my tío, just a little bit more on my tío Roberto Quintana, my tía Albina ran a Mexicatessen on 20th and Harrison. And it was a Mexicatessen. And my tío Beto had the first tortilla machine. And he kind of invented it, but he never got the patent going. But it looked like a dinosaur. And it was a dinosaur. I mean, it was like a metal dinosaur. And you'd walk in, and it'd be going, boop, and it'd fly a big old frisbee, metallic corn, nixtamal tortilla at you. And my cousin Tito was one of the early Chicano beatniks in the Mission, and he would blast Cal Jader, Thelonious Monk, and Horace Silver Quintet at 1 a.m. And I was living in this little tiny room on a bunk bed, and that was very delicious. And my cousin and I shared the same bed, and I would wake up to Cal Jader and to a flashlight dug into my eyelids by my kind Tito cousin. He was cool. He was very cool. I'm kind of exaggerating. So I'm glad to see you. I really am. Thank you so much. And glad to be in here. Big mano for the freight. Big mano for this place. You can't put Muhammad Ali in a poem. You guys ready? Okay. I remember meeting Muhammad Ali at UCLA. What a beautiful and powerful and visionary human being. So we're going to do this together a little bit, okay? And you guys do the parentheses, and I'll tell you when they come up. Let's do the title together. You can't put Muhammad Ali in a poem. If you did, it would knock you down. Remember Sonny Liston? That's the idea. If you did, it would knock you down. Remember Sonny Liston? And if you were still standing, you would have to bust out. Remember the March on Washington? Of your shaking, vaulted, poor thinking self. Oh, yes. And change. That's right. This big old world. Say it. Say it. And if you did, you would have to battle with words and rhymes and body and time for a new idea. Did you hear that? You would have to endure. I hear you. And propose. What? A new name for all. A new name. It could be peace. It could be unity. Sounds easy. But this poem cannot provide this or contain this word. Watch out. Here it comes. And, ready? It's going to sting like a bee. There, you got it. You got it. That was good. You did good. You did good. I was trying it out for the first time, and we did it. We did it together. We did it. We did it. What a beautiful man. What a beautiful man. Thought poem for Victor Martinez, undelivered. What a beautiful friend to Victor Martinez. Remember Victor Martinez, those of you that knew him? Wasn't he a great human being? Another beautiful human being. A lot of our friends have passed on through time, recently and further back. Let us honor them all. Thought poem for Victor Martinez. He was such a excruciating, solid, patient, crackling thinker. So I'm kind of working with that in this piece. Thought poem for Victor Martinez, undelivered. You said what you wrote at this moment here was being written by someone somewhere else at the same time. This is the question. Some country, some town on stilts, in a broken concentration bus or a polished make-believe desk, a cheap, jungled-up clinic, an empty one, no supplies for the sickly, aged children. Deep in the rain-soaked, burnt tree forest, slapped together hut, smoked with holiness, with festered branches and malaria strings, just maybe a promotor school, that short snout bus that takes us to a new arrangement. You said that. Would you be writing that there? Would you be living that there? Why would you care to write that there in that message without a message, that hunger known as life stuff, where every damp speckle and mud twig is a shout mouth hunger, and that fulfillment? I do not know. Knowledge. Let us call it that right now. What else could it be? Could it be that this gut water inside, burning its alphabet incomplete, calling for something you and I have? Bread? Is it bread? Is it ink? Is it simply placement? The empty, yellowing floor office across from my 15th floor as I tiptoe into the edge of it all. Tomorrow, I read at the university. I stand up and read. Someone else is standing up and reading. Someone else is tiptoeing in a circle, a palaver, a crossing station, en Talisman, en route to Guatemala, halted halfway by soldados, a variety, a synonym where life splits and fissions, mind, sequence, pattern, reproduction, silence. You move your arm and put letters down on paper. You move your lips as you, but you're not here, are you, anymore? Spell it as you drink it, as you breathe it from that second galaxy. Ah, yes. Halfway down as I breathe it up, halfway's up as she ambles with an ancient rifle, the kind sold to Indians, to the shadow, greenness, mildew, heat, selva, in that human landscape spiraling, no one knows. I carry so many things in bags these days. And that's just one of many bags, and I really usually don't carry that bag. I carry like a bag that carries 400 pounds, and it's against my neck, and then I carry a breathing machine, because I use a breathing machine at night. And then I carry luggage. And then the plane is late. The plane got in late It's the plane got in late, and the other plane is getting out early. And it's only 50 stations from where I'm at. So I'm like kind of like a cosmic goose, like with kind of helicopter luggage swirling around me. And then I get there, I get in the plane, and something's wrong with the plane. And then it's leaking, and they have to fix it, and it's beginning to sound a little problematic because it's leaking. And they're fixing it and it's leaking. It's not coming together really good. And then they want to get another plane. So then they get another plane, and I have to wait for the other plane. And that's running to another gate. We should write poems about that, huh? We should write poems about that. I guess the thing is, you get. It's about being late, and it's a lifestyle. I got to accept that. I think I have to accept that. It can begin with clouds. It can begin with clouds, how they fray, how they enter, then how they envelop the earth. In a second or two, they vanish. You touch them, they take you. You find yourself in their absence. Sometimes you read them somehow, the separation, the losses, the sky. Yes, it is the sky they were talking about, the character for sky. You are there now. You have always been there now, where there is fire and thunderface behind the torn universe. You can see this, how it shreds itself. So you can see this. That is all there is, then nothing again, then you again, and the clouds come to you and you pass. It's funny how poems just have a life of their own. I mean, they really do. And then you look at them and you go, I really haven't met you before. It's going to take a little time to get it together again. So this is one of those poems. And if the man with the chokehold, y si el hombre con el chokehold, and if the man with the chokehold, and if the man with the chokehold pulls the standing man down, why does he live? And if the dead man is gone, why does he rise? And why is there a clicking sound, the sound the soul makes when it leaves? Even though no one knows, and if the woman stays, why is she the crucible, the fire? Why is she the voice? And if the voice is never heard, why does it resound for 9 generations? And if it was a teen with a swagger, why is he still prone? And if the police were right and the court was in agreement and the governor spoke humble facing the masses, why are they lost in the infinite desert? And if the looters broke the wall and split the wine, why are they still scorched with thirst? And if we march, why does the street divide as we pass by? Why does it not offer us, here, take my water? And if all the laws are freedom for you, for me, why do we not speak? And if that tree stands behind you, green with the last 2 limbs up, swollen with blood, why does it not suffer? Why does it blossom torches? Here and there, I sit and meditate. My dog licks her paws on the red-brown sofa. So many things, somehow. It is all reduced to numbers, letters, figures, without faces or names, only jagged lines. Across the miles, half shadows going into shadow, then destruction. the infinite light here and there, cannot be overcome. It is the first drop of ink. I was hanging out with my friend Bob Alvarez at Deer Park by Escondido. Thich Nhat Hanh's barrio. You and I belong in this kitchen. Long time hermano Bob tells me. One of the monks in brown directs us to the deep sink, made of 2 sinks, the hose, and the silver table where all the spoons and metal tongs are clean. Wait at the entrance for direction the monk gave me. But he is in there and points me to another sink, made of 2 sinks, and a silver table where all the spoons and metal tongs are clean. Scrub off the rice burned at the bottom, clinging to the sides of the steel. Outside, working the hole in the earth, 3 monks in brown stir the blackish pots, boiling 4 kettles of mud, cakes for the new lunar year. The dragon, the people, the monastery, the mountain. 1 monk stands staring into the nothing, no thoughts around him. The other monk descends through the colorless fog, 2 children. Angle an exploded tree limb back and forth, so the sparks play with them. To the left, the meditation hall is curved and faces Escondido, down below, where my father drove his army truck and pulled our trailer to a stop on Lincoln Road in 54. I watered spidered corn and noticed the deportations. Little friends gone, the land left to freeze alone. Lunch is served, we go to the line. The spoons and the speckled tongs await by the brown rice, white rice, eggplant, kimchi, and a great pot. Pour the seaweed soup. We go with our tray and sit. The mud cakes are ribboned in red and gold and green. There is a way to do this. It requires listening and seeing and silence. Silence, the bell rings. Long time, hermano Bob and I at the parking lot. We leave brown cloth, naked spoons, naked pots. Steam rises from the sink, and the view with no one. Almost living, almost dying. I was staying in a hotel in Riverside, really cool hotel. And here my streets with ragged beats, and the beats are too beat to live. So the graves push out with hands that cannot touch the makers of light, and the sun flames down through the roofs and the roofs that slide to one side, and the whistling fires of the cops, and the cops in the shops do what they gotta do, and your body's on the fence, and your ID's in the air, and the shots get fired, and the gas in the face, and the tanks on your blood, and the innocence all around, and the spilling, and the grilling, and the grinning, and the game of race no one wanted. And the same every day, so you fire and eat the smoke through your long bones and the short mace. And the day, this last sweet swisher day that turns to love, and no one knows how it came, or what it is, or what it says, or what it was, or what for, or from what gate. Is it open? Is it locked? Can you pull it back to your life filled with bitter juice and demon angel eyes, even though you pray and pray? Mama says you gotta sing. She says you got wings, but from what skies? From where could they rise? What are the things, the no things called love? How can its power be fixed or grasped So the beats keep on blowing, keep on flying, and the moon tracks your bed, where you are alone or maybe dead, and the truth carves you, and calls you back still alive. Cry, cry the candles by the last 4 trees still soaked. And Michael Brown read, and Officer Lou read, and Officer Ramos read, and Eric Garner, whose last words were not words, they were just breath asking for breath. They were just burning, like me, like we are all still burning. Can you hear me? Can you feel me, swagging tall and driving low and talking fine and hollering for my corner crime and frying against the wall? Almost living, almost dying, almost living, almost dying. 1970, 1971, 72, 73, 74. Those are the poems in this book. Early days, occupied water tank days, San Diego days, muslin pants, lime green see-through Indian shirt. It's true. Huaraches from Oaxaca. One pair pants, one t-shirt. A lot of good poetry, a lot of poetry from everybody. That's how I learned. I heard the word poetry class, but it just went one ear and went out the other. I should have taken those classes. But remember, poetry was all around us. Poetry has been around us throughout our lives. It's been around us in our families, in the stories of our grandparents and parents, are just the stories floating in the air between all of us, in words, beautiful words. Let us gather in a flourishing way with sun, luz, grains, abriendo los cantos, opening the songs que cargamos cada día, that we carry every day. In a young pasto on these grass blades, nuestro cuerpo, our body, para regalar, to give, y dar, and give, feliz, happiness, pearls, pétalas of corn flowing, árboles de vida, trees of life, en las 4 esquinas, on the 4 corners. Let us gather in a flourishing way, contentos, filled with happiness, llenos, filled with strength, to vida, to life, for life, from life, giving nacimientos, beginnings, fragrant, ríos, rivers, dulces, frescos, fresh and sweet, green and turquoise, verdes, turquoise strong, carne de nuestras hijas, flesh of our daughters and sons, rainbows. Let us gather in a flourishing way. En la luz, in the light, y en la carne, in the flesh of our heart, to toil. En la mañana, in the morning, tranquilos with the rain, calm and tranquil with the lluvia, juntos to stretch los brazos together, to open our arms. Cielo de calor, heaven of heat and wisdom, to meet us where we toil siempre, where we always toil in the garden of our struggle and joy. Let us gather in a flourishing way and offer our hearts, our águila, eagle, rising freedom. A celebrar, to celebrate, woven brazos, arms and branches and ramas and branches and piedras and stones and nopales and cacti and plumas and feathers and piercing and bursting figs and aguacates and avocados and ripe mariposa, butterfly fields and mares claros and clear oceans of our face to breathe, todos, all of us, and el camino, on this road, on the road, blessing, seeds to give, to grow, that sacred city of corn, Maiztlán, en las manos, in the hands de nuestro amor, of our love. Well, those were sweet days. Sweet days, sweet poetry. Adobe, New Mexico, villages, pueblos, corn, driving on, what was it, from Berkeley to northern New Mexico on $20. I told my mom on 16th and on 2044 Mission Street, I said, Mamá, me voy a ir al norte de Nuevo Mexico. What? ¿Qué dices? I'm going to go to the norte de Nuevo Mexico. I'm going to go to the North Country in Nuevo Mexico. And, well, are you ready to go? I guess, yes, I am. I got my T-shirt, my one pair of pants, my huaraches, and my 1961 Dodge without windows on the side. Station wagon. And $20. I got money, let me tell you. I got some serious money. I got some serious money, John. I got $20. And I filled up in Berkeley. I thought it'd be a good way to, take off from Berkeley. I did. I put $20 of gasoline in that no windows 1961 station wagon. Man, I took off. And you know how we were in those days. There's no sleep. There's no sleep mechanism in the brain, right? And night came. In Arizona, it was burning. It was like 139,000 degrees. And I just decided to stop for a little while, see what it was like to stop. I'd never had experience stopping, so I stopped, and I popped open the hood, and there was a red, giant, steel tarantula underneath the hood. It was an engine. It was the engine. It was a big old steel tarantula, red steel tarantula. So then I shut the hood and I got back into this, whatever it was, the pilot seat, the rocket ship, and I got back on the road, and on the road. In the morning, the sun came up, and it was so hot. It was so hot that half of the car melted. I'm telling you the truth. My arm got sunburnt, the steering wheel turned into half donut, and half of my face was sunburnt. And I went all the way up to Santa Fe and Chimayo, Española, Peñasco, San Juan, Pueblo, prairie town with the little prairie dogs. And Peñasco, like I said, Velarde, Peñasco, little worm farms up there, and apple trees. I made it up the hill to this gasoline stop. I said, where on earth is Llano? I was going to Llano. I said, where on earth is Llano? It's right over there. So I made it to Llano. And finally, I had like 50 cents left of gasoline. Those were the days of writing that book. En la medianoche, in the mid of midnight. I said, there's a midnight. There has to be a mid of midnight. It's one of those Greek mathematical paradoxes. If there's a midnight, there has to be a mid of midnight. This is called In the Mid of Midnight. Rumba and chocolate in the mid of midnight. And the turniping night under the earth that has gone blind. Embrace me on the table of the prayer woman and the anthill dish. Let us go to Carrara to sing to the count of sulfurs and ciphers and reaps. But nothing by the killing wall. By the killing wall in carriages of the skeleton carrier. Raining light rain, like this, I walk. Then it has music in Spanish too. En la medianoche, rumba y chocolate en la medianoche, y la noche rabanera bajo la tierra que está ciega. Abrázame en la mesa rezandera y el platillo de hormiguera. Vamos a Carrara al cantarle al conde de azufres y cifras y arrecifes. Pero nada lloviznando por el paredón, y carruajes de hueseras, lloviznando, así ando. I was about to dance. I had to contain myself. keep on feeling there's a poem you want to hear. It's a funny feeling, isn't it? It's kind of like one of those telepathic feelings. It's a telepathic feeling. And there's this piece called The Soap Factory with 3 voices. And there's this piece called Border Bus with 2 voices. The one with 3 voices are 3 male voices, quote unquote. And the one with 2 voices are 2 women's voices. That's where we're at, folks. Which one would you like to hear? Las mujeres. Everybody say, Viva la mujer. Okay, let's do that. Let's do that. You know how it is. You know how it is. Border buses. That's why I'm so glad I'm here, because here in the Bay Area, you're doing so many good things for the people, so many good things for creative expression of human beings, so many things for unlocking the vaults that have kept us back in many ways. So I'm so happy that you're doing all this, and you know about all this. This is Border Bus. The bus where people were put in, as you know, they were already detained. They didn't have papers. And many were women. They already had been detained. They were already in a bus going toward a detention center. And as you know, that detention center, the city, and a number of the people, not everybody, wanted to keep that bus back. So they had nowhere to run. ¿A dónde vamos? Where are we going? Speak in English or the guard is going to come. ¿A dónde vamos? Where are we going? Speak in English or the guard is going to get us, hermana. Pero ¿qué hicimos? But what did we do? Speak in English. Come on. No más sé unas pocas palabras. I just know a few words. You better figure it out, hermana. The guard is right there. See the bus driver? Tantos días y ni sabíamos para dónde íbamos. So many days and we didn't even know where we were headed. I know where we're going. Where we always go. To some detention center, to some fingerprinting hall or cube, to some warehouse after warehouse. Pero ya nos investigaron, ya cruzamos, ya nos cacharon los federales del bordo. ¿Qué más quieren? But they already questioned us. We already crossed over. They already grabbed us at the border patrol. What more do they want? We're here on the bus now. That is all. ¿A dónde vamos? Te digo, salí desde Honduras. No hemos comido nada. ¿Y dónde vamos a dormir? ¿Y where are we going? I'm telling you, I came from Honduras. We haven't eaten anything. And where are we going to sleep? I don't want to talk about it. Just tell them that you came from nowhere. I came from nowhere. And we crossed the border from nowhere. And now, you and me and everybody else here is on a bus to nowhere. And you got it? Pero por eso nos venimos, para salir de la nada. But that's why we came, to leave from all that nothing. To leave all that nothing behind. When the bus stops, there will be more nothing. We're here, hermana. ¿Y esas gentes quiénes son? No quieren que siga el camión. No quieren que sigamos. Están bloqueando el bus. ¿A dónde vamos ahora? Those people there, who are they? They don't want the bus to keep on going. They don't want us to keep going now. They are blocking the bus. So where do we go? What? He tardado 47 días para llegar acá. No fue fácil, hermana. 45 días desde Honduras con los coyotes. Los que ya sabes lo que les hicieron a las chicas, ahí mero en frente de nosotros, pero ¿qué íbamos a hacer? Y los trenes, ¿cómo diré, hermana? Cientos de nosotros, como gallinas, como topos en jaulas y verduras pudriéndose en los trenes, de miles, ¿me oyes? De miles, y se resbalaban de los techos y los desiertos de Arizona, de Texas, sed y hambre, dos cosas, sed y hambre, día tras día, hermana, y ahora aquí en este camión y quién sabe a dónde vamos, hermana. Fíjate, vengo desde Brownsville, donde nos amarraron, y ahora California, pero todavía no entramos y todavía el bordo está por delante. It took me 47 days to get here. It wasn't easy, hermana. 45 days from Honduras with the coyotes, the ones that, well, you know what they did to las chicas right there in front of us. So what were we supposed to do in the trains? The trains. How can I tell you, hermana? Hundreds of us like chickens, like gophers in cages and vegetables. Nothing, rotting on trains of thousands. Did you hear me? Of thousands. And they slid from the rooftops in the deserts of Arizona and Texas. Thirst and hunger, two things, thirst and hunger, day after day, hermana. And now here on this bus of who knows where we are going, hermana. Listen, I come from Brownsville, where they tied us up, and now in California. But still, we're not inside, and still the border lies ahead of us. I told you to speak in English. Even un poquito, the guard is going to think we are doing something. People are screaming outside. They want to push the bus back. Pero ¿para dónde le damos, hermana? Por eso me vine. Le quebraron las piernas a mi padre. Las pandillas mataron a mi hijo. Solo quiero que estemos juntos. Tantos años, hermana. Separados. But where do we go, hermana? That's why I came here. They broke my father's legs. Gangs killed my son. I just want us to be together. So many years, hermana. Pulled apart. What? Mi madre me dijo que lo más importante es la libertad, la bondad y las buenas acciones con el prójimo. My mother told me that the most important thing is freedom, kindness, and doing good for others. What are you talking about? I told you to be quiet. La libertad viene desde muy adentro. Ahí reside todo el dolor, de todo el mundo. El momento en que purguemos ese dolor de nuestras entrañas, seremos libres. En ese momento tenemos que llenarnos de todo el dolor de todos los seres para liberarlos a ellos mismos. Freedom comes from deep inside. All the pain of the world lives there. The second we cleanse that pain from our guts, we shall be free. And in that moment, we have to fill ourselves up with all the pain of all beings to free them. All of them. The guard is coming. Well, now what? Maybe they'll take us to another detention center and we'll eat. We'll have a floor, a blanket, toilets, waters in each other for a while. No somos nada y venimos de la nada. Pero esa nada es todo si la nutres de amor, y por eso venceremos. We are nothing and we come from nothing, but that nothing is everything. If you feed it with love, That is why we will triumph. We are everything, hermana, because we come from everything. Thank you so much. Notes on Assemblies, that's that book right there. And these are all conversations that, I'm kind of a conversation guy. These are all conversations that, I noticed. And you know how we're in life, and it's made out of conversations, even if they're not allowed to be heard. So, since I know you like rhythms, since I know you like bomba, and since I know you like mambo, and since I know you like guaracha, and since I know you like bolero, those are such great words. Everybody say guaracha. Or say bolero. Or say mambo. Say cha-cha-cha. Just say it a lot. It's like yoga. Cha-cha-cha. Cha-cha-cha. That's yoga right there. That's yoga. In three beats, you got yoga. Cha-cha-cha. You're breathing. Cha-cha. There's no way. If you're feeling angry, just say cha-cha-cha. You can, boom, it's over, You'll be in happiness. You will be in happiness. So since I know you like that, and since I know you like hip-hop, and rock and roll, and blues. Boy, did I hear the good blues in the Bay Area. Keystone Albert King in Berkeley. Yeah, remember that? With his triangle guitar and his left-handed upside-down reversible way of playing. Oh, Born Under a Bad Sign. Ooh. That was so good. And Janice Joplin at Fillmore West. That's right. And Country Joe and the Fish, and Bobby Blue Bland. That's where I was destroyed, and I was reborn at the Avalon Ballroom on Sutter. Remember that? With three bands at the same time: Howlin' Wolves, Steve Miller, and the Grateful Dead. Really, 3 planets coming at you. Howlin' Wolf would have done it right there. And the Grateful Dead up here in front, and Steve Miller grooving on the side. Yeah, Howlin' Wolf, Steve Miller, Grateful Dead, and a sofa where I was falling back into the sofa. I couldn't stand for too long. So this is called Papaya. So this is all of us. You guys ready? And we're going to need some rhythms, so feel free to jump in. You can take off on a syllable and take it the way you want to take it, or a phrase. And here we go. We're going to do this together. Remember Kush, Cloud House Kush, poet Kush, who videotaped every poetry reading from the Mesozoic to the present. And Kush we'd be outside of La Galeria de la Raza in 1981 doing the Monopoem Poetry Festival, where you can only read one poem. But I forgot that the poets understood that to be a 24 stanza poem. That caused a couple of problemos because somebody else had a shorter poem. And Kush would go something like this outside. Hey, everybody, we're out here on 24th and Brian. It's for the people. Come on inside, because we got the breath, we got the soul, we got the sauce, we got the soul sauce. Come on in. Okay, here we go. You ready? Here we go. Everybody say, hey, sister and bro. Don't walk so slow. Papaya yellow sun on your shoulder. Se cae. It falls and spills seeds. Papaya es de allá, over there. Y de aquellas And it's really cool. It's really cool. Quetzalcoatl fruit, bro. Sister. Simon. Feed on. Tropical jugo. Tropical jugo. Tropical juice. You know. Carnala. Carnal. Tu corazón papaya. Tu corazón papaya. Rotates and germinates. Ciclos. Cycles. Rivers and ruedas. Rivers and ruedas. No carruchas. No jalapis. Ruedas. Wheels. Rings of power. Open flow awakenings. Don't move your mouth. Mueve tu papaya. Mueve tu papaya. Move your papaya. Y watcha carnal. And check it out, my brother. Y watcha carnala. Check it out, my sister. Tu barrio. Tu cielo. Tu tierra. Tropical. Weave a new rhythm. Weave a new rhythm. Weave a new rhythm. Papaya. Payava. Yavapa. Yavapa. Yavapaya. Yavapaya. Payavaya. Ya 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 yava. Yava ya yava ya pa. Pa 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 pa. Yava ya pai pai pai. Payava payava ya ya yava paya. Payava. Java paya. Java paya Berkeley. Payava ya Frisco Bay. Java paya La Telegraph. Where I used to wake up in the morning. Cinnamon stovepipe striped pants. Javapaya, 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 ya ya Javapaya, 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 Paya, Paya, Javapaya. Everybody, Payavaya. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Malcolm. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Elaine. Thank you, City Lights. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thanks, folks. Muchas gracias, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You're going to get me dancing. You're going to get me dancing. That was good. That was good. Huh? We can do a Q&A. Everybody go Q&A. Let's do a Q&A. Yeah.
Does anyone have a question? We can just do one or two questions. Poems or questions? Poem, okay.
Louder? Oh, need a microphone, huh?
Where do your poems come from?
Well, they come from you. They come from you. They come from you. You know, without contact, with humanity, without contact with you, without having a relationship with our community, with all communities, there is no poetry. There is poetry, but it's like a plant with very little water. It can be a very beautiful plant. But if we give it more water, more community, it can grow into incredible heights and beautiful prismatic rainbow colors. It comes from you, it really does. I really don't have anything, I just kind of get it from everything and everyone. Like found poetry. And all you got to do is just let go. All you got to do is let go. Free fall. It's a free fall. You got to free fall into your poetry. And the more you move your, you don't even have to, just move your arm. If you're stuck in your head, just move your arm and put paper in front of your arm. Slap it on ink and move it on paper. And then pin it up on the wall. And there it is. That's all. And then you can continue. Yeah. And then we learn from each other. I learned from all my friends and from the great speakers we had in the 60s. They were great speakers, as you know. Muhammad Ali was a great speaker. And Martin Luther King and Dolores Huerta and all the amazing community leaders and builders that we had in those years. For me, they inspired me a lot. And I said, how do they do it? I wish I could do what they do, or something close to what they do. And it was kind of my little personal dream. I never shared it with anybody. I was wanting so hard to get up there and say something, because it was the hardest thing for me to do. The thing I wanted the most was it was the most impossible thing for me. But then I just had to get in there and do the best I could. But then I had friends who wanted to have the same thing going. So then we all threw ourselves out there with string bass. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, Juan Felipe. Boom, boom, boom. What? Boom, boom. What do you want me to do? Boom, boom. And then I would do it like that. Yes. Another question? Don't get me started. Another question?
I was wondering, as someone who clearly has so much joy for the oral element of your poetry, and is so captivating out loud, if you could speak a little bit on the marriage of being a page poet as well. Clearly, you get so much out of speaking to us.
You're right about that. I enjoy all styles and all forms, and I enjoy knitting them all together. And they're really one thing. In the end, as it was in the beginning, they're really one thing. The page here is the page there. The page here is the page there. But I know what you're saying. You know, what we do out here and at a 45-degree angle. I love that 45-degree angle, the 8.5 by 11, or the computer screen. I love that space, because then I can play with the letters. I can do choreography. I can do architecture. I can use space in a different way. Over here, when I'm speaking, I can use breath space, and over here, it's kind of breath on paper space, and I like that. And I like using interesting words, curiosity words, words that we wouldn't generally use. And like breaking the stanzas, I like cracking them and putting them in different places. And I like what that says. And I like starting the poem in particular ways and using the ending as a beginning, because then the ending is always better anyway. So you're not going to know that I use the ending as a beginning. You're going, man, that's an interesting beginning that Juan Felipe is using. Wow, how did he do that? He spent years working on this. And I just tear off the ending sometimes and put it on top. Or I'll split the poem sagittally, and I'll just use half of it, you know, and see what happens there. So I like this world too. And I also like this world because it's red hot. Sometimes it's too hot. Sometimes it's too red hot. And, you know, it can be dangerous because it's just super hot. It's a lot of creativity and energy. And same thing on the page, you know, you get lost in there too. But I love it all. I love it all. I love splashing words and using drawings as well, and collage, all that, performance. Yes.
How does it keep you busy as U.S. Poet Laureate? And what are some of your favorite things about being in that position?
You know, it's a good question. You know, thank you. How do they keep me busy? It's like when I was a kid. They just put me in a Greyhound bus and push the button. It's like that. It's like being a kid again. I grew up in Greyhound buses and trains, and I'm back on buses and trains and planes all over the United States. And then I have an online project, the Casa de Colores, House of Colors, that you're all invited to be part of. Yeah, and we're going to have another one called the Technicolor Adventures of Catalina Neon, and it's going to be written by children, chapter by chapter, throughout the United States. And Chicago schools, districts will be working with them, and Fresno State be working with Fresno State and doing other things. A visual wordist studio. We're going to have a visual wordist studio, and you're all invited. So it's just letting go and letting it all happen and going and proceeding forward. And it's all for you. It's all for you. It's all for you to be part of. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Because I want you to have forums to participate in with your creativity, with your voices, with your conversations, and with those interests that you have. You know, you have your own interests, your own point of view, things you've been wanting to say, things that you're working on. They're kind of hard to get out sometimes, hard to get them out. So one thing I like to do is open the doors and you just walk on in, and whatever you want to do, go head on and do what you've been wanting to do through the Library of Congress, and then let it whirl out into the world, and that's what I'm all about. So you're invited. Thank you.